Hey, everybody. It is Angela Williams Graves, the broker and owner of Homes by Angela Realty Company, where we serve buyers, sellers, and investors. And our goal is to exceed your expectations. It is Tuesday, June 11th, and this is our Teaching Tuesday segment. And I'm so pleased that you joined us because today we're going to be talking about selling your home. A lot of times you all are hearing a lot in the market about what's changing and how to sell your home and all of those kinds of things. And so we're going to give you a round view, an overview. I call it the seller's wheel of life for selling your home. And then if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at 757-524-4941, or you can visit our website and contact any one of our fantastic realtors who would be more than happy to help you and answer any of your questions. So we've got 30 minutes together today, so let's get started. So in the seller's wheel of life, this is an overview, pretty much like the buyer's wheel of life that we talked about last week when we talked about the various steps to buying a home. And so folks want to know, well, what are the steps to selling a home? I've got a property and I want to sell it. So here's the thing. You can sell your property as is. A lot of people don't know that they can sell their property as is. If you own a property that that needs a lot of work and you don't have the money to do the repairs, you don't have the time or the energy or the interest to do the repairs, you can sell your property as is. If you've got a property that needs just a little bit of work to get things, to just get it in tip-top shape, then my suggestion to you is to have a realtor come over, let the professional take a look at your property and let you know what it is that needs to be done. And then let that realtor help you contract with a contractor to get that work done so that you can get top dollar for your property. It is still a seller's market. And so your question may be, well, what does that mean? Well, what being in a seller's market means is that there are more buyers on the market than there are houses to be sold. So when you hear terms like we're low on inventory, we're low on, supply is low, that means the number of homes that's available for sale is low. And so if we're at a number right now where if every house on the market sold, it'd be sold in about 2 months, 2.5 months. Normally, a 6 month supply of homes is what is considered a balanced market, where if every house on the market sold, they'd sell in about 6 months. And then if we were in a market where it took, 8, 9, 10 months to sell a property, then that would be a buyer's market, because then you would have more houses on the market than you have buyers. And so it just tilts the scale in a different direction. But right now where we are still in a seller's market. And that's a good thing for sellers, to be able to put their property on the market, know that you are going to get serious buyers looking at your property, not just looky-loos that are, coming in for the open house, or neighbors trying to be nosy. I mean, you still may get that. But the folks who are actually making appointments to see your home are serious and qualified buyers that are looking for your home. And serious and qualified buyers is important. And you may say, why is that? I'm glad you asked. A serious buyer who is not qualified really doesn't mean anything to you as a seller. They're serious about buying, but they got 500 credit scores, or their debt to income ratio is too high, or they don't have their down payment saved up, or they haven't seen a mortgage lender to get pre-approved. And we talked about how much being pre-approved by a mortgage lender was important last time. And so that's a serious buyer, but they're not qualified. And so then you have a qualified buyer, somebody who may have 700, 750 credit scores. They may have $8, $9, or $10,000 in the bank. They may not have any debt. That's a qualified buyer. but they may not be interested in buying a home. And so now you see why being a serious and qualified buyer is important to you as the seller. You want them serious about buying. They're ready to go. They have some motivation. They're moving to the area. They're tired of renting. They need a larger home to for their family. Their family is expanding and they need more space. So they're serious. They want to buy their first home. They've always wanted to be a homeowner. And so they're looking at the market and they've decided now is the time for them to jump in. They're serious and they have been to a mortgage lender. They know how much they're pre-approved for. They know what their approximate payment is going to be. They have their down payment and their closing costs in the bank. Their debt to income ratio is in line, and they're not going to do anything to jeopardize that before they get to the closing table. So that's the ideal buyer, is a serious and qualified buyer for your home. So if you're selling, that's what you are going to be finding in this market, because you just don't have a lot of folks out there in this market going, oh, well, let's just see. You don't have that in this market. So let's talk about it. You're going to meet with, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to meet with a real estate professional. And the reason why you're going to meet with your real estate professional is so that your real estate professional can outline to you how they work. The basics of selling a home are pretty much the same, but each agent, each realtor works a little bit differently. So they're going to meet with you. You would have already talked to them on the telephone. You would have already given them the address of your property. You would have already talked to them about, any of the upgrades that you've made to the property. You've already given them a good overview of the condition of the property, and you expressed to them what your reason for selling is. And so they would have done some preliminary numbers when they meet with you. So they're going to meet with you. They're going to put their eyes on the property. And that's very important. I don't believe that an agent can accurately list your property or price your property for sale if they have not put eyes on your property, on the interior and the exterior. Number one, they get to see the property. They get a good feel for the property. They get to understand the personality of the property. When we have to write a property description, we can actually speak to it as someone who's seen it, right? And so that's why it is important for your agent, your realtor, to put their eyes on the property. Also, it gives them an opportunity to give you some criteria on what you need to do in order to put this house in its very best light when it goes on the market. And so that's one of the things that you want your realtor to do, is meet with you in the property so that they can see the property and get a good feel for the property. Then between what they've picked up in comparables and what they have actually seen, your realtor may be able to give you a range when they meet with you, or they may go back and say, oh, you know what, this property is in better condition than I thought it was. Let me go back and crunch these numbers. Or they may say, I don't know, this property needs a lot more work than what you implied to me over the phone, because sometimes we get used to things that may not work perfectly. When a buyer is buying your home, they want things to work perfectly. They're spending a lot of money, right? And you want to get top dollar. So it's just a balance. That's all it is. It's just creating balance. And so the home may need more work than what what was originally conveyed to the agent. So the agent's going to do that. They're going to help you establish a price. And what I like to do is I like to give my client 2 to 3 price points, no more than 3 price points. And I will give you an as is price point. I'll give you a price point if we do a little bit of work, and then I'll give you a price point if we make it perfect. Sometimes it's perfect and we get 1 price point. Sometimes if the seller rather says, I don't really want to do a whole lot of work, tell me what the minimum is I have to do in order to get the maximum amount of dollars for my property, then I'm going to work with you, and our agents are going to work with you to give you numbers that reflect what you tell us that you want. So we're going to establish a price, and then preparing your home for sale. Oh boy, this is where a lot of folks get caught up. And what you have to understand is that you want a buyer to come into your home and see themselves there. So we encourage folks to take down pictures. We encourage folks to take down a lot. If you are an interior decorator, it is going to reflect your personal taste. And there may not be anything wrong with your personal taste, but your personal taste may not be that of buyers coming in. So you want to make the property as appealing to as many buyers coming in to the property as possible. You want to make the property as appealing to them, with them being able to come in and do as little work. If you're selling this property for top dollar, you want that buyer to be able to literally come in and move their stuff in and keep it going. Okay. That's different from a buyer who knows that they may have to do a little bit of work in order to make this home perfect. And then that's different from an as-is buyer, which is usually an investor that's going to have to come in and do a bunch of demolition, repair, construction, and remodeling, as they say, to the property. So those are the different kinds of audiences that you're going to be marketing to when you put your property up for sale. It's going to be the as-is buyer, who is pretty much an investor. They're going to be offering you cash and a quick close for your property. You don't have to do anything to it, but don't expect that you're going to get top dollar for it. Then there's going to be your buyer who, if the property is not perfect, they don't care. They'll come in, they'll paint, they'll put down new carpet, and you'll pretty much get close to top dollar for that property, or somewhere in the range, because there's not a lot of cosmetic work that needs to be done to this property. Then there's the buyer that wants it move-in ready. They want it to have a neutral color scheme. They want to be able to come in, like I said, move their stuff in there and keep it going, right? They don't really want to have to do a whole lot to the property in order to make it theirs. They want to feel that it's theirs when they walk in. And one of the things I will tell you, I always tell buyers when I'm working with them, is when you walk into a property, you'll know. You'll know when you walk into the property. You'll know if this is the one, right? You'll know that. And so you're going to prepare the home. You're going to take all your personal belongings off. You're going to take all those great photographs and stickies and magnets and stuff. That's all that's coming off the refrigerator. You're going to downsize your closet. If it's summertime, I'm going to ask you to take all of your winter clothes out of your closet so that your closet doesn't look super full, and the buyers can actually see themselves putting their clothes there. Because here's the thing, think about it like this. You've got to move anyway, right? So box some stuff up, put it in the garage, get a storage unit for a short period of time, and get those things out of there so that the home feels open and spacious to the potential buyer. You want buyers to be able to roam freely through your home. You don't want them to feel uncomfortable, like they're going to break something in your home. You want them to roam freely through your home in order to see themselves there. So we're going to give you a list of things. Curb appeal is something else that's very important when it comes to you selling your home. How does the home look when people drive up to the property? Do they go, "Ooh, this is nice"? Or do they go, "Do these people even cut the grass? I wonder what the inside looks like"? That happens, okay? That is really something that happens. So you want to make sure that you give yourself good curb appeal. Then it's listing time. Your listing agent is going to go through all the documents that are required. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions about features of the home, because we have to list all of those things in the listing agreement. And then you're going to sign your documents. They're going to put the proverbial sign in the yard and the lockbox on the house. It's a real sign too, y'all. And the lockbox on the house. And they're going to put your property on the market. Your property then is going to go live. That is our go live moment. It's what I call it. Your property is going to go live on the MLS, which is a real estate information system. That is our local MLS. It's going to go live to all of the other real estate websites that are out there. It's something called an IDX feed. It feeds the property listing. Rain feeds the property listing to every available source that has properties for sale. Now, understand this. You may find your property on Zillow or Trulia or one of those other places, and there's some inaccurate information there. There's some old information there. It may not even show your property for sale. Understand that the only thing that your realtor and their company have control of is what they put into the MLS or into that listing agreement and subsequently into the MLS, and what goes on their own company's website. What other companies take and use and manipulate, okay, that's a third party, and we cannot control that part, but it will go live. It'll be live listed for sale. Agents will see it. Agents who have property searches set up for their clients in the price point with the particular parameters of your property, that will go to them, and they will start contacting your listing agent for showings. Now, here's the thing. When you list it for sale and you have showings, you want to make sure that you are as flexible as possible with the opportunity for your property to be shown. Okay, you really, really do. And I understand that sometimes people work from home, sometimes people work at night. Give all of that information to your realtor. So if you do have some special circumstance, we can work with you and schedule around your timing so that we can get the most eyes on your property as possible with the least amount of inconvenience. And so that's what, that's a really big deal, is when you're talking to your realtor, this is your new best friend. It really is, until your house is sold. And even after that, because I'm friends with my clients even after that. But this is your new best friend. That's your new bestie. And you want to make sure that you let them know what situations you have that may interfere with showings. It's very, very important. Once we show it, the agents may have an open house. Folks will come through. They'll give feedback on the property. They will let you know what they think. Agents will let your agent know what they think of the property. And they'll provide that information to you. Do they think the price is just right for the condition? Do they think some things need to be done? Do they think the price is too high? And I will tell you this, intrinsic value and sentimental value does not correlate to extra dollars in the list price. So just be mindful of that. And then once there is a buyer who sees that property and they see themselves in it and they see their family in it and they see many happy years there, they're going to make an offer. They're going to make an offer to you to buy your home for a set price. They may or may not ask for closing cost assistance. They may ask you to pay a portion of their closing costs. They're going to give you a closing date. They're going to tell you when they're going to have a home inspection, or if they're going to have a home inspection. If you have a situation where you have a well or a septic tank on your property, that's a whole nother inspection. If you have a situation where there's a pool on your property, that's a whole nother inspection. And most times, a lot of those are culminated into the same day. The buyer's agent can coordinate those on the same day. Also, if you live in a homeowners association or a condo association, your agent, your realtor, is going to ask you about the homeowners association documents and the condo association documents, and they're going to ask you permission to contact your association to get those documents on your behalf and then turn them over to the buyer. And so those are some of the things that go into the offer that will be presented. Now, there is entirely possible that you will get multiple offers for your property. And what your agent will do is your agent will look at what is the best offer for you. right? If you have a specific date that you need to move, if you need to be in the property for a specific amount of time, the agent also is going to look at the lender. Is it a local lender? Is it a .com lender? Have we even heard of these people before? That kind of thing. And then they're going to call the lender who's put the pre-approval letter together, and they're going to ask the lender, has this buyer prepared, have they submitted all of their documents to you, their paycheck stubs, their bank statements? Do they have enough money for their down payment and their closing cost assistance? All of those things. So it's not just about the top dollar in terms of being the best offer, but there are a lot of things that go into selecting the best offer that absolutely have nothing to do with price. Price is in the top 2 or 3, right? But there are a lot of other things that go into the process of selecting an offer when you're looking to sell your property. Once you've chosen a property, you're under contract. Usually that means that there are no more showings of your property while the buyer is doing their due diligence, meaning they're finishing up their work with the lender. Okay, they've already gotten the preliminary stuff in, but there may be 1 or 2 more docs they still need to get in. They will do their home inspection. You will have to negotiate items on the home inspection, those things that the buyer and the home inspector come up with that they would like to be fixed. And we're going to do a in-depth on the home inspection. We're going to do a segment on it, but I'm also going to do a little in-depth nugget on the home inspection piece and what that entails for about 2 or 3 minutes after this is over. And then your buyer also will have to have an appraisal. If they're not buying it with cash, then their mortgage company or their mortgage lender is going to require an appraisal. Every loan, FHA, VA, conventional, they all require an appraisal because you may agree to sell your home for $500,000. The buyer may agree to buy your home for $500,000. But if that home doesn't appraise for but $450,000, Houston, we got a problem. All right. And so there is a clause in your contract that says you all have 3 days to figure it out. Okay. So once the lender gets back to you in writing and lets you know that the appraisal came in at less than contract price, you have 3 days to decide. 1, am I going to take less than what the original contract was for as the seller? Am I going to do that? 2, the buyer can decide, well, I really love the home. I'll pay the additional $50,000, which is not likely in this market, but it can happen. If you're off by a couple of $1,000s, it can happen. But I don't want you to expect that a buyer's just going to come out of their pocket with $50,000 because there's a $50,000 discrepancy in the appraisal. That's just not realistic. But the buyer can come to the conclusion that they're going to pay the difference. Or let's say if you both agree to $500,000 and the property comes in at $490,000. You can agree to come down to $495,000 and the buyer can agree to come up to $495,000. And then they will both, I think I might have said that wrong, but what I'm getting at is the buyer will pay $5,000 and you'll take $5,000 less. It's kind of like meeting in the middle. You split the $10,000, if that makes sense to you. And I hope it does, because I think I said it wrong in the first time. But I hope that makes sense to you, where everybody comes to the table not getting exactly what they want, but you get to sell your house and the buyer gets to buy your house. And if you're a willing seller and you have a willing buyer, the best advice I can give to you is negotiate and work with your agent in order to make this transaction work. And you want to do that. You don't want to come out of the sale being harmed, okay? Meaning getting significantly less than what you had anticipated and not having the money to do whatever it is that you need this money to do from the sale of the home. But if it's a minor adjustment, don't, as my mother used to say, trip over quarters to collect pennies. All right. Don't trip over quarters to collect pennies. All right. So then once your house is under contract, you've gone through the inspection, you've gone through the appraisal, buyer's done all their information, the closing attorney is going to reach out to you. They're going to ask you for identification. They're going to ask you for some information about your loan. They're going to get an authorization because they have to get a payoff. The closing attorney is the fiduciary. They are the trust agents in this process. And their responsibility is to make sure that every invoice, everything is settled at the time of closing. All right. So there should not be any outstanding money owed to anyone once you close. I mean, you may have a light bill because you've got to keep the utilities on until the day of closing. You may have the final electric bill because you have to keep the utilities on, or the final gas bill. That's another thing. People go, oh, I'm under contract, especially if they don't live in the property, and they go turn everything off. You cannot do that. You, in your contract, it says that the seller will maintain the utilities until closing. And then what will happen too is your buyer will do a final walkthrough. So if you lived in the property, you would have moved out. And then your buyer will do a final walkthrough. They want to make sure that everything is everything. Y'all will hear me say that a lot. Everything is everything. They want to make sure that there are no holes in the wall, that there are no broken glass, that there's no, that all of the utilities work, that you didn't take down that real nice Hunter Douglas ceiling fan and put it and replace it with a Walmart $99 version. And that's happened, y'all. They want to make sure that you don't take out that really nice top, the top refrigerator, top refrigerator pull out freezer thing, right? The real nice refrigerator, and put in some rinky dink one that you got on sale for $2.99. That has happened, y'all. So they're going to want to make sure that the property is basically in the same condition that it was in when they saw it. And that is contractual, okay? That is also in the purchase agreement, that the seller will make sure that the property is in the same basic condition as it was in when the buyer put the offer in on it. You as a seller will sign your closing documents probably a day or so early so that all of those documents can get over to the buyer side. When the buyer closes, that's the actual closing date, because the buyer brings the money. All right. The buyer's lender would have wired the money to their escrow holder, and that pays off your lender. That pays off your realtor, that pays off anything else that's outstanding that you agreed to pay for. And then that buyer's title attorney will prepare a closing check for you and everybody else. So if there's anybody else that needs a check or has to get money wired, the buyer's side funds, okay, they're the ones that provide the funding because they've received the money from the buyer's lender when their loan, once their loan has been approved. And so that's pretty much, and then everybody goes on about their way. You get your money from the sale of your home, you get your proceeds, the buyer gets their new home, they get their keys, and everybody's good. That's happy, happy, joy, joy. So I'm going to take the last 2.5 minutes and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this commission thing. Understand that real estate commissions are always negotiable. Okay, please understand that. And right now we are in a state of limbo where we don't have an exact directive from the Realtors Association, the Department of Justice, because we thought we had a deal and then some folks objected to the deal. And so everybody that's way above my pay grade is working all of this out. Okay. And so, but understand that professional service fees, commissions, those are negotiable. Now, to the extent that one realtor will negotiate with you over another, or what one realty firm will take over another, that's the art of negotiation. Some folks have a bottom line that they won't work for less than X, Y, and Z. But understand that the professional service fee of your realtor is you paying them to sell your home, you paying them to market your home, you paying them to put the property in its best possible light for there to be a willing and qualified buyer. And by paying the buyer's realtor, Okay, you do that, you make it easier for a buyer to be able to purchase your home because that's less cash that they have to bring to the table at closing. And also you help that realtor to be able to show your property, and you put your property in a really good light. Do you have to pay the buyer's side? No, you absolutely do not. There's nothing that says that you do. But I recommend that you do, at least right now, until we have some better guidance on what is required, what is not required, and all the other stuff that's going on with the Department of Justice and the Realtors Association. I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors. My firm is a member. We're a member of the Virginia Association of Realtors, the Hampton Roads Realtors Association. All my agents are realtors. We're all members, and we want to make sure that we provide the most ethical treatment for you, and the best possible selling and buying experience that we can. And so haggling over a professional service fee, who's going to pay what and all, talk all of that through with your realtor. But just know that professional service fees, commissions, all those things, those are negotiable. And we just want to make sure that we are giving you the best opportunity to get your property sold for the most amount of money with the least amount of headache in the shortest amount of time. So I'm out of time here. We're at 30 minutes and like almost 40 seconds, but I'm Angela Williams Graves, the owner of Homes by Angela Realty Company. And I want to make sure that we also show you our great realtors again, who are happy to assist you in any of your real estate endeavors. Visit our website, homesbyangelarealty.com, homesbyangelarealty.com, and you can find all of our agents who are professional and who are realtors and who are here to help you if you have questions about selling your home. Until the next time, I am glad that you all joined us. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Take care. Bye-bye.